The UN Global Compact Network Canada is the Canadian arm of the world's largest corporate sustainability initiative. We work to help companies make bolder, more ambitious commitments and help them keep it while creating the enabling environment for them to succeed. When I speak to business leaders, there's several really important reasons for making sure that there's greater diversity and support for persons with diverse identities in the workplaces. We know that workplaces with diverse leadership are more resilient. We also know, and this is directly from speaking with investors, they see that resilience with the diversity in leadership as being more profitable. But beyond that, there is the commitment and the expectations from society that companies lean into the human rights part of being more diverse. We were delighted to be asked by ISED to be one of 5 ecosystem partners to help deliver support to these workplaces who have made the commitment to the 50/30 challenge. And so over the last 3 years, we have put out a series of really engaging workshops for companies and individuals within it who are trying to build up their skill set and their capacity to create opportunities for diversity in leadership, and then to support that leadership in all the ways then that diversity is able to spread out through the organization.
I am the daughter of immigrants. I am a woman of color. I married a Haitian man, so I have 2 children who are biracial, and we are raising them in 2 different religions. So diversity is really at the heart of my family, and it's embedded in my values. Randstad as an organization already made the commitment to equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. So when I came in, I really wanted to focus on the inclusion aspect. Not that it didn't exist, but for me to be able to evolve in diversity and equity, inclusion must exist first. So for me, there is no D or E without I. I'm a practitioner that really grounds my work, so whether it be strategy and then every program and initiative that is driven out of that strategy from data. So I was head down for 1 full quarter, looking at our numbers, but also running focus groups amongst leadership, amongst the workforce, to understand truly where we were, to be able to actually completely revamp the strategy.
Manulife is a great company. I joined right when we were just in the COVID lockdown. We were still working remotely. Health and well-being were important. Managing the conversation around Indigenous peoples and the children whose bodies were found in residential schools. Those were current events. This job is very much about movement, geopolitical activities happening, and the tangible things I knew we needed to put in place was, where is there opportunity to either refresh or revise? We are a small team, so what can be actionable? Maybe there's opportunity that we can be addressing flexibility a little bit differently, or health and well-being differently, or how we support women in allyship and development.
As professional engineers working in society, we believe we are the guardians and protectors of public infrastructure. People see engineers as running numbers and typing on calculators and whatnot. You need diversity in your design, but you also need diversity in the design team that you have. Women are 50% of our population, but in the engineering profession, about 15% of the engineering profession is women. So one of the problems with if you lack diversity in your employment group or your design group is that you end up with what the automobile ended up with years ago, is that all the crash test dummies were designed off of men, the seatbelt designs were designed by men, and they didn't accommodate women. By having women on the design team and represented properly, you can end up with superior designs that accommodate all the humans that are going to be using these designs. And so the team needs to be not just one type of person, but multidisciplinary, people from different aspects of life. And what that is folded into is the diversity of our team, which is we have people from all over the world who work here. We have people from all kinds of cultural backgrounds and different gender backgrounds. And you add that together and you have a very robust design in your engineering.
We always talk about, buy-in from leadership. In all sincerity, it wasn't buy-in that I had to get from leadership. The buy-in was already there. It was sponsorship around what the next steps of our journey were going to be and how authentic and transparent we were going to be around reporting on our strengths and, those great highlights, but also, some of our opportunities and shortcomings. So transparency within an organization around DEI, to me, means bringing everyone along on the journey. It's an imperfect journey, and I think that unfortunately, organizations feel that they need to be perfect in this journey. So for Randstad, transparency means making sure everyone knows what's going on. What are we working on? What has gone super well? What did we maybe commit to and not get to? But also where we had some shortcomings.
We've taken the opportunity to really understand what we need to do to remove bias in processes. That was a huge undertaking, understanding where there might be unconscious bias, educating on it, but also removing it where there was an opportunity to remove it. How do we provide opportunity or look at a holistic view of engagement? The engagement of our colleagues, the ability for us to see the retention tactics we were using to retain our talent. It wasn't just about bringing in talent. It was making sure the house is clean before you invite guests over, as like what I'd like to say. And I think we will continue to evolve a process, especially now when we think about what's happening in the world.
We've learned that for people to thrive, they need a reference model that they can aspire to. And we need to create reference models for women and other diverse individuals to see that it's not just white European men that are at the top of these companies, but there are leaders that are women and other diverse people can also thrive in these senior roles or as senior technical roles or whatever they aspire to be.
Randstad loves a good challenge. We are an organization that absolutely loves a good challenge. And once you give us a challenge, we're gonna find a way to beat that challenge. So for us, it became concrete because we were really early in our journey when we signed on to the 50/30 challenge. And so to really put in metrics and goals in place, which were accompanied by some guidance and resources, it allowed us to focus.
And what the Global Compact does is allow us to set a standard that a group of really smart people have reviewed and taken the information and distilled it down to something that is easy for us as a private sector business to understand. I don't need to be perfect, but I need to start measuring that imperfection and then acknowledging the limitations that we have. But now that we've measured, now we have something to say, how can we improve upon? What can we improve upon? And demonstrate to ourselves that we are successful.
I'm a proponent of initiatives like the 50/30, and what I particularly like about UN Global Compact Network, We have partnered with them on a number of initiatives, and at a very human level, how they even approached the partnership with our organization felt so equitable, and I felt heard, and it was about capacity building for us just as much as it was for them to meet their own reporting requirements and commitments for this work. And that means a lot.
When this line of work started becoming a priority within organizations, and when these programs and these strategies became a priority, I think we were focusing on the D, so the diversity element, quite a bit, because we were in a market where there was a huge talent shortage as well, right? So since DEI became a trend, because it really was a trend when it started, it's never been pressure tested. And there's a beauty in being pressure tested. So we're seeing organizations who took maybe a bit more of a performative approach to DEI are having a really tough time continuing or to start building the business case to maintain DEI programs or DEI teams. And so I think being in this pressure zone for DEI work now is the time to show how it actually benefits the business.
What I would love to see in terms of the conversation around DEI evolving is, first and foremost, it being seen as an imperative that's integrated in every department and all the work that organizations do. So not something that's off to the side, not something that is a temporary nice to have, but it's deep work that has to be embedded within the core of how business does things. And then setting targets, setting strategic priorities, but then reporting on them and reporting on all of it, including where we may miss the mark, because a growth mindset, a mindset of continuous improvement will not look at those things as failure, but will look at those things as we're human, we're starting where we are, and we're going to report on all of it, learn from it, and do better as we move forward.
How do you create the reference group and the opportunity for those people that have that merit to thrive and grow? We have to change it so they have that opportunity and give them that chance.
I feel hopeful, which is good. I think it's nice that I'm able to feel hope. It doesn't mean that I'm not aware of some of the panic and the fear and the confusion that is coming out of people, everyday people in society, because of this anti-DEI or EDI rhetoric that we're hearing. There's always conversations happening all the time, but I think for any leader or any person who's working EDI work, it's super important to just always make sure you're listening and always ask the questions. How are you feeling? How is this going to affect the people that we're engaging with and working with? What is the goal here? This work is heavy. You're going to engage with a lot of people who often won't be feeling 100%, who really feel, confused or neglected or whatever the case may be. So it's really important that you have your own boundaries, that you're also thinking about how to really protect and honor yourself in the work.
We're going to have to continue to evolve our strategies, integrate health and wellness into what our programs are, understand how we can create accessible workplaces for people with disabilities, visible and non-visible. Those are all great things that we pride ourselves on doing, and we hope to continue to do that work. There's always pushback in uncertain times. There's a risk mitigation. There is an adversity to risk. And especially at these times, you require partnerships. You require stakeholders at the table, the right stakeholders. You need the people who are key decision makers, but you also need the people who are impacted at the table as well. Because you cannot make a decision that's impacting someone else and them not be there. I know we're in a geopolitical climate right now that is questioning the value of our teams and whether or not we need to be here. And I'm here to say that we're not going anywhere and that we are going to progress and we are going to evolve again.
We want to be able to give those folks who are able to make changes in workplaces the tools, the best practices, but also the courage and the conviction to make those difficult changes, to be able to make the business case, but also make the human rights and the moral case for why this is important in their workplace. We want to be there to support them because while we say that we are working with companies, we know that at the core of it, we're working with a few really engaged and visionary individuals. We want them to feel like they have support on their journey.